You say I make you nervous, a tragedy.
BTS News Today, Los Angeles, July 23rd, 2025. The summer wind hadn't eased, and though the heat still clung to the skin, a sudden breeze seemed to slip into the hearts of millions of fans across the globe. That breeze didn't come from nature, but from a small screen connecting one person to the world. Who else could it be but Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, who appeared live tonight in the middle of Seoul's night, leaving his room lights dim and letting the silence say more than words. But tonight wasn't just another casual live. Tonight, Jungkook opened his heart, and what he shared was something he had never truly spoken out loud over the years. Earlier that afternoon, rumors began swirling again about all 7 BTS members being spotted in the same location. Blurry photos surfaced on Korean online communities, showing silhouettes that seemed to be gathered at a large studio in the Ilsan area. Armies began speculating. Was it for a new commercial? A secret project for their anniversary? Or was it the beginning of something far greater? Something not yet fully understood. But no official confirmation came. Everything remained silent. Even Weverse didn't blink today. But that night, just as many were beginning to fall asleep, a notification startled the world. Jungkook is now live. Within 30 seconds, hundreds of thousands of fans from all over the globe tuned in. Jungkook's face appeared, bare, no makeup, wearing a plain white shirt, his hair slightly damp as if he had just stepped out of the shower. But it wasn't his appearance that captured attention. It was his eyes that spoke even before his mouth uttered a word. "I don't really know where to start tonight," he said quietly, his voice nearly a whisper. "But I think I need to talk. Right now." The screen filled with comments, from "we love you" to "what happened," but Jungkook didn't seem to read any of them. He looked straight into the camera, like he was speaking to someone very close. "We were filming together today. All of us. All the members," he said with a small, fragile smile. It felt strange. Not because I wasn't happy, but because time feels like it's moving too fast. He paused, biting his lower lip, then lowered his gaze for a moment. When he looked back at the camera, his eyes glistened. "That shoot was for something I can't talk about yet. But when we all gathered and the cameras started rolling, I felt like I was dreaming," he said. "We laughed, we joked, but in between those moments, I knew this time together won't come twice. And that's what made me feel all mixed up." That night, Jungkook wasn't reading from a script. There was no manager behind the camera, no rehearsed lines. Just a young man who had grown alongside 6 friends for over a decade, now coming to terms with the reality that things were changing. He spoke about the moment Jimin quietly held his hand during the shoot, about how RM patted his shoulder without saying a word, but Jungkook instantly understood. About Suga, who lingered the longest at the back of the set, gazing at the ceiling with a small smile. About Jin, who simply said, "Time flies, doesn't it?" and then laughed. And V, who suddenly played their favorite song from his phone, causing everyone to fall silent. "I still can't believe today really happened," Jungkook whispered. "I still remember our first shoot, in a cramped room with blinding lights and cameras that made us nervous. But today, it felt like an unspoken goodbye." When a fan commented, "Did you cry after the shoot?" Jungkook didn't answer right away. He let out a long breath, then smiled, though it trembled. I waited until I was alone. Until the studio lights were off. Until they all got into their cars. I sat in the makeup room, and I cried. But not because I was sad. I cried because I know I'm lucky. Because we still got to gather, even if just for a while." The live grew quieter. Sometimes, Jungkook paused, just staring into the camera, as if searching for answers within the silence. No music, no background track, only the sound of wind brushing the curtain near his window. "Sometimes I envy time," he said. "It just keeps going without guilt for leaving things behind. But humans, we hold on. We feel. We remember. And tonight, I feel like I want to hold on to everything. Today's shoot, their laughter, even the silent hug from Tae before he left." The comment section flooded with crying emojis and love notes from every corner of the world. But Jungkook remained focused, as if he needed to finally say something he'd long buried. "We all have our own paths now. But when we gathered today, it felt like home. And home isn't a building. It's not a stage. Home is them. BTS." He paused again, taking a deep breath before continuing. "And you, Army, You're part of that home too. What followed was the warmest silence ever streamed. Jungkook bowed his head, closed his eyes, then opened them again with a deeper smile. A calmer smile. Not from pain, but from acceptance. If one day you watch the result of today's shoot, and it moves you, remember, it's not because we're perfect, but because we love each other. Quietly, through brief hugs, through looks that understand without needing words. It was almost midnight. Jungkook was still in front of the camera, but he looked tired. Yet he showed no signs of ending the stream. I want to keep talking, but I also want you to know, I'm okay. I'm just a person learning to let go little by little, while also holding on tight to memories. A few minutes later, someone off-camera knocked on the door. Jungkook smiled again, this time lighter. "Hyung is calling," he said softly. "I have to go." Before ending the live, he looked into the camera one last time and said, "Tonight, I open my heart. Not to make you sad, but to say, I love our past, our present, and your future with us." Then, the screen went dark, but the world didn't sleep. On X, formerly Twitter, the hashtags #JungkookLive, #OT7, and #BTS Forever immediately began trending globally. Fanbases from different countries started translating Jungkook's live into various languages. Clips from the stream were shared across thousands of accounts. Even fans who missed the live scrambled to find replays, breathless. He didn't just speak. He touched something, wrote a fan from Brazil. Tonight, he touched a wound we didn't even realize was still there. Meanwhile, speculation about the mysterious shoot Jungkook mentioned began to rise. Some Korean media outlets suspected the filming might be related to BTS's upcoming 15th debut anniversary next year. But Big Hit had yet to release any official statements. Still, perhaps not everything needed confirmation just yet. Because tonight, the most important thing wasn't a big project or a long-awaited comeback. What mattered most was the simple honesty of a man named Jungkook, who chose not to carry everything alone. And for once, the world truly listened, not just with their ears, but with their hearts. And like morning that never fails to follow night, the next day the world still seemed wrapped in the warmth of Jungkook's live. No one could quite let go of his final words, still echoing in the silence. The trending hashtags hadn't dropped. In fact, ARMY communities around the world began holding online discussions, analyzing tiny details from the live. Jungkook's restless fingers when he mentioned the other members, the way he tilted his smile before saying home, and the subtle tremor in his voice when he said, "I cried." That morning, Weverse and Big Hit social media remained quiet. No explanations yet about the shoot Jungkook referenced. But armies didn't stay still. A Korean fan shared a clearer photo, showing 7 figures dressed in semi-formal outfits, standing in front of a camera with a deep purple backdrop. Comments poured in. Some believed it was for a new documentary, others speculated a special comeback, and some wondered if it might be a symbolic farewell video before another member enlisted in the military. But in the end, what Jungkook said lingered more than anything else, because he didn't just reveal news that he revealed his soul.